Right, welcome back to the UXi podcast. We are exactly halfway into our year, and we thought it would be a fantastic time to give you a bit of an update as to how the programs are running across the country. With me, I've got Anton Moorman, who's the rugby director for UXi, and he is going to introduce our panel. We've got the program managers from across the country. So, Anton, do you want to jump in and tell us who's on the podcast today?
Yeah, I think great. Andri, it's awesome to be here and great to have the brains trust behind the UXi Institutes with us this morning. I'll start by introducing my fellow director, Gert Mulder, sitting up in Pretoria. Gert, great to have you up there. I know that things have been going well with the program up north. From a program manager perspective, we're going to start right up top in Nelspruit, where we have Jacques Momberg, who's been leading the program with the guys competing up in Nelspruit and in Pretoria in the Carlton Under-20 Cup in the Mpumalanga region. I've then got Roche Steenkamp, our Limpopo Bulls Institute program manager. It's their first year. It started off incredibly well, and Roche is doing a fantastic job there. Then we have Chanel Alberts, the pretty face, the rose among the thorns. And yeah, Chanel, great to have you with us. Chanel is heading up the Harlequins Institute. And then we've got Simon Askew, who's down in Bloem. Nice and cold down there at the moment. And yeah, Simon's led the Free State Institute to a fantastic year so far, with the guys at Old Greys performing really, really well. Coming further south, we've got Brendel Brunt up at Griquas, dovetailing between his role at the Currie Cup side and with our boys at the Institute. And then way down south, down here in Stellenbosch, we've got Warren Peterson, who is leading a great staff, and the boys have had an incredible season down here in Cape Town so far. So really good to have them all online this morning, and looking forward to hearing their inputs and allowing the parents to delve a little bit deeper into exactly what our processes are, what our systems are, how the boys have done, and how the rest of the year is going to roll out.
Cool, thanks, Anton. So jumping in on the training and development side, and we'll start with Simon up at the Cheetahs in Bloemfontein. Don't you want to tell us how the different training phases evolved over the first 6 months of the year?
Well, thanks very much, gents, and it's great to be here to be able to share where we've been in the Free State and how we've developed over the first 6 months. Coming in at the beginning of the year, we had a great set of players that joined us, obviously from all kinds of different backgrounds. And we obviously started at the beginning with our testing and our fundamental skill development. We actually got pushed into a phase quite quickly where we needed to compete in the club league here in the Free State. We are affiliated with Old Greys Rugby Club, and this year has been the first year that we've invested all our players into them. And the club's really done well, succeeded. We are fully invested as coaches and management into it as well. But if we look at the progression of the players, we obviously started with basic fundamentals on field, units, multi-unit skill development. It gives the coaches a good idea to understand the ability of the players, not necessarily to rank them or to categorize them, but to actually see where we stand and to look at our team dynamics. Identifying your team profile very early on in the season is important, especially because we had about 4 weeks before we had to jump in and perform against some tough opposition. So we would look at our skill development. Our strength and conditioning coaches would be doing testing, would be doing medicals to make sure that we've got a good history, understanding of where the players have been, our functional movement screening. And then we've progressed slowly but surely into our systems on the field. Generally, we would like to work on a 6-week block on the field to make sure that the guys and the players are comfortable and confident in their ability. And then slowly but surely we progress. So I think if we look at the training and how it's progressed, the players have done exceptionally well. Managing the player load on the field has been huge for us because they are at club trainings, training with UXi in the gym and so forth. And all these guys are looking for opportunities to play provincial rugby around the Free State and in the Cheetah system as well. So We progress slowly but surely, making sure we're managing the players' safety is obviously our primary factor for us, and giving those that need more time in specific areas more time, and those that we can fast track high performance wise, trying to fast track them to give us the best shot in the club league. And we've done exceptionally well. We have 2 teams playing in the semi-finals this past weekend, and 1 team that's going through in the second league to play finals. So I think our coaching staff and our group has got the balance right with the players, and then obviously giving us the opportunity to give it our best shot.
Chanel, we want to go over to you at the Harlequins in Pretoria. Tell us a bit about some of the specific challenges that you see players face in their development, and then also what you do as coaches to help them deal with it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, firstly, the word challenge is a growth opportunity. We have a big campus with a lot of boys, and for us, working specifically in terms of not just their physical development, but also their mental and their psychological development is quite important. We want a holistic approach. We want our players obviously to chase those individual goals. And I think if you not just see how far you can go, but how much you as an individual can improve on a daily basis, it really shows you progress, and it really motivates you. And I think one of the most important things is staying motivated, understanding they just came out of school, a lot of them are very young, and there's so many growth opportunities for them, so many places where they can actually play and evolve. But saying that, it takes hard work, it takes dedication, and it takes commitment. So for us, it's very important to teach them about discipline to your own journey, discipline to your own development. We have worked with them in terms of getting that big match temperament right, how to deal with the big situations within a match. And then furthermore, if we take it off the field, we've also worked quite hard on time management, improving your self-awareness, understanding who you are and where you want to go, setting goals, and not just outcome goals. I want to play provincial, but what do we want to achieve on a daily basis? And that's kind of where our PDPs comes in. This is kind of where our testing comes in. Today I had a guy, one of the players, come in, and he's ecstatic because he's talking about his personal growth in these individual things, and that's exactly what we want. That's exactly what motivates you in terms of the next term and the next step and where you want to go next.
Thanks, Chanel. We want to jump over to competition performance. As some of you might know, each UXi institute slots into a specific union, and within that union is a club competition. Jacques, you coach out of Mbombela and Nelspruit with the Pumas at the UXi Institute up there. Tell us which respective competitions your players play in, and then how you've been performing there.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity, Andri. Yes, so by us, we play in the Carlton Under 20 League and the Shield Division in Pretoria. We also have some of our boys competing in the local club league, especially our older boys. So all of our players are currently busy in the competition. It makes it a bit difficult. We have a bit of logistic challenges traveling around from Nelspruit to Pretoria every time. But having all the players playing consistently helps a lot with keeping the players motivated. Although we do a lot of things individually, at the end of the day, we believe the team performance and performing together in a squad is one of the main things of rugby. You've got 23 players and they need to perform, but also as a whole from PRI side, everybody playing, training, working towards this goal to perform better as a group really helps us to play in these competitions. So we're very grateful for that.
Great, thanks, Jacques. You've really done a good job keeping your guys engaged up there. So Brendel, over to you, and Kimberly. Out of the competitions you've played, what are the key performance indicators that you've been managing to track from your players?
Yeah, we actually had a session yesterday with the boys regarding work rate. We said, we can develop skill, we can develop passing, tackle techniques, and quite a few things. But overall work rate for us is basically the foundation of everything that we stand for. And so yesterday we actually went through the Leinster versus Bull stats and just certain players on their specific work rate and basically what the Springbok coaches are looking at now. So we had a chat with them and asked them, listen, who was the man of the match? The eighth man of Leinster, he had 46 impacts on the game, and then on top of that he was involved ball in play. Time he was involved every 43 seconds in the game. So that's either carrying the ball, making a tackle, getting involved with the jackal, first or second arrival on defense and on attack. And so we just went with them in terms of work rate. We actually had 3 players yesterday that trained for the last 2 sessions with the senior Currie Cup team. It was Caden Daniels, Ashwin Haynes, and then Aiden Falloon. And Pete Bear, who's the head coach, actually came to me after during the session. He told me, flipping these boys, ruck application is actually good. As a rugby player, ball in hand time is so. What you do without the ball is very important for us, and we've been driving that a lot, especially playing in the First Division League.
Thanks, Brendel. So Warren out in Western Province in Stellenbosch, you've been involved in coaching at different levels, coaching club rugby, provincial rugby. Give us some insights as to the difference in intensity and playing style between senior provincial sides and players playing senior club rugby and playing in the junior levels.
Good morning, everyone. Andri and Anton, thanks for the opportunity. They play in the Marties Res League. So here they normally play against older students. Andri, I think you know this. They play in the Sour League. I think this is one of the toughest student competitions in South Africa. So we have our 19 and 20-year-old boys who competes against students that's already 4th year or 3rd year students. But the main thing for us is getting these boys the opportunity to play and obviously to prep themselves once they make a step up and play for the respective under 20 teams that we have. The difference in intensity is that these boys these men are obviously slower than the students that we have. So the standout thing there in terms of the rugby that they play is more physical. How we rectify this is by having more contact-driven sessions on your Monday and your Tuesdays. That helped a lot. So getting these guys to get confidence in making those first-time tackles. The under 20 competitions in Western Province might not be as physical, but it's very skillful and the intensity is very high. And that's obviously something that we also pride ourselves with, making the game fast, encouraging the boys to play a high-tempo rugby. So that is, Andri, in short, the difference between the competitions in Western Province, where you have the senior guys there, where the rugby is more physical. But in terms of when you play your junior rugby, that's skillful and high-intensity rugby.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, Gert, to sort of answer on behalf of the institutes up in the north. You followed club rugby for a very long time. You've been involved in rugby up there for a very long time as well. Have you seen players adapting to the demands of those leagues, and can you see a visible improvement in the conditioning and resilience of the players?
Yeah, I must say, especially on a 21 level this year, we have 21 teams playing in the Cup and the Shield division. So I must say that the under 20 league is devastating tough here. I think where Warren and the province guys will be more skillful, this is a combination about the super physicality combined with the skills. and the standard of play is exceptional. It is so good that one of that I've used of the flipping 18-year-old boys in the first team at Harlequins in one of our matches, and even of the under 20 players in the Colton. So and the Colton rugby has also become younger. It's not those old guys that stays on for many years. So it's getting more professional. And if you don't have a kind of an institute or a pathway for your players, even at the club level, there's no way for a club to survive and to be competitive, at least in the leagues in the north. I must say Roche has done exceptionally well in the Shield for his first year. I think Roche is now 7 out of 7 wins. He's top of the league now, yeah. So everybody's got a target on his back. Jock, even while they're traveling 4 hours to Pretoria and 4 hours back, they are playing exceptional good rugby. They had 1 or 2 hiccups in the last 2 matches, but that was very close. But they started very well in the season. At Harlequins, we had a slow start, losing against Turkish, which is a phenomenal team with 1 point. We actually should have won that game. But yeah, now starting with the second round or the second half of the first round, it was a turnaround, doing very well. But yeah, rugby's evolving, club rugby's evolving. It's becoming almost totally professional. In the northern half of South Africa, there's a lot of academies. It's not only UXi. So the competition is extremely high. Even within UXi, we played last week, Thursday, there was 3 UXi teams playing in the Shield. And unfortunately, 2 UXi teams had to play each other. And so out of the 3, there was 1 loser. Very close, but I think it was 1 point. So yeah, it's extremely well. The rugby is going extremely well. I think that UXi is putting down a footprint for players to develop, to get into the structures. It's the late bloomers get an opportunity to be selected for provincial sides if they was not in the right school. We see how the players have grown from the beginning of the year to where they are now 6 months down the line. That came from a small school just to get that opportunity to develop. We can see truly how they have developed throughout our system. So the system is working, but you need that player also to have the buy-in and to believe that the system is working. So yeah, from our side, we are super happy about how things are turning out in the rugby leagues in the north. Super proud of every staff member at every institute. Privileged to have all these guys on board. And I must say thank you also to Simon and Moelis. They transferred a few guys to Roche to assist there because of the Shield competitions, competition rules that has changed, that you have to have players in their province from the 1st of June. So it makes it difficult. It actually makes it difficult for you to get players to play in different competitions and to get them over to a different union. So they need to be registered in that union.
Great, Gert, thanks so much. I'm going to jump over to Anton on my left-hand side, also providing oversight over a number of institutes, also been involved in provincial coaching. How do you select players to attend under 19, under 21 trials? And how have the success rate been of players going into those trials and into those provincial systems?
Yeah, Andri, I think that the one interesting constant that we've heard from all the coaches is that our curriculum really runs in line. Even though we are 6 different institutes, the coaches have all really answered every aspect the way I would expect an institute manager to answer them. They've all addressing the same issues, the same topics, and really happy to hear that. So when we talk about identifying talent, it'll start from that day 1 scenario. You know, players will arrive. The institute managers are well versed in selection policies, well versed in identifying talent, and they'll start earmarking players not only on their performance on the field, but in terms of their discipline off the field, how they conduct themselves as a young professional. And when the unions eventually come out with the trial rounds that are going to take place, we'll then identify the players that have performed over a period of time, send their names through, and those youngsters will then integrate into the different games in their regions, and then from there be selected into the under 21 Shield competitions, or if it's the provincial under 19 competitions, or even the under 21 competitions in some of the bigger unions. We've had a really fantastic amount of feedback from the regions or the provinces where we are situated, where we've had our coaches that have integrated into the junior provincial coaching systems, which is a fantastic opportunity for our kids or our players, because our coaches are working with them on a daily basis. So when we talk about understanding a player, knowing who you can rely on, who can produce under pressure, these kind of players then not necessarily are fast-tracked, but they've got a potentially an easier route into a final trial, final group kind of scenario before they eventually settle down on team selection. Jacques is involved with the Pumas under 21s. Roche is involved with the Limpopo Bulls under 21s. You have Brendel, who's involved with the Griquas Currie Cup side, who, when he's talking to their regional under 21 coaches, they respect and value his input. Simon was the Free State under 19 coach last year. When he's talking to the provincial coaches there, they respect and value his input. You know, Chanel and Gert at the Harlequins, Gert's been with the Bulls for a number of years, so he's got the ear of the coaches in that region. Likewise, here in province, Warren, myself, who's based down here, we've got relationships. We've coached a lot of the guys that are coaching there currently, and so when we advise them on players that we believe are performing, they will give our boys the window of opportunity. Once we create the opportunity, it's up to the youngster to take it. You know, we can only take them so far. So I think our identification process is firmly set across the 6 institutes. We also ensure that Roche might have a shortage at Limpopo. He reaches out to Gert and myself. I need a little bit of help in this department. We then identify kids throughout the institutes and say, who wants to go? We've had 5 boys from province who've gone up to the Limpopo Bulls. We've had 4 boys from Free State who've gone up there. Their opportunities in their specific regions might not have been as good, or they might have gone because they are under 21, or depending on what their age group is. So they've integrated into Limpopo. Likewise, we've had guys from Free State going to go and trial in Griquas or at the Griffins. I think we've just had one of our youngsters from Free State who's been offered a junior contract by the Griffins, which is fantastic. And those are the kind of pathways that we want to create, you know. And then you have bigger windows. Up in the Pumas right now, Jacques is coaching the Nelspruit first side, who are on the verge of qualifying for the Gold Cup. And he's got a number of boys that are under 21 that are playing in his first side. Gold Cup is a national window. It's a national club competition. If our boys can get that kind of exposure at that level, it just opens up a myriad of opportunities for them later or post the institute year, when they decide to leave or when they decide to go on to the next step in their lives. So I think that the opportunities that are being created are fantastic. We had a great year last year where we had over 60 boys who played under 19 and under 21. That's a massive percentage if you consider how many boys actually make it in rugby. But I think the one common denominator, and it's something that a parent probably needs to realize, is that an academy boy's journey is always different to a kid's who's been identified directly after school. These youngsters who are playing for the top schools, playing top Craven Week, who sign directly into unions, they're almost achieving instantly. Our boys' journeys are a little bit longer because they are late developers. They need some time. They need a little bit of direction. They need a proper mentor. They need to get exposed that they might be coming back from injury. That 2-year journey within the academy structure is really, really vital, because we see a lot of second-year students really then starting to shine. So this first year is massive because they catch up. But in year 2, we can see in our respective leagues how our second years are really starting to perform and dominate. And with our holistic approach, not only are they now doing well with rugby, but with an academic overflow into year 2, you know, parents can really start thinking about what their routes for their children are going to be for 2026. And you'll see they won't only be achieving on the field, but also in the classroom.
So I want to use that point and get some insider insight from Jacques at the Pumas. I'd like you to give some insight. Muli spoke about sort of that two-plus year plan for players to make it. How do you use that in your vision, you know, in selling that long-term vision to a player? And how do you plan as a coach and an institute to help that player transition over a multi-year program?
Yes, Andri. So just to give you a bit of a feedback, I think with the PRI that's grown a bit, and Anton knows about it, and Gert, I approached Jimmy Stonehouse and I said to them, you know, this is an amazing program to give guys these individual development at least for 2 to 3 years, and to get them up to a standard when they get to under 21 level, they can actually play, and that Coach Jimmy Stonehouse can identify them and see them. We have got an example of that currently. There's Duarte Eichmann that's been with us now for his 3rd year, and he's currently training with the senior Pumas full time. He is in the position, he's playing front row, and he's an amazing example that I showed to other players, players coming in, some of our first years, where Duarte was 2 years, 3 years ago, not being able to do a lot of physical things in the gym, but just pushing and keeping hard in the program. After a year, I said to Duarte, we need to work another year. And now he's in his 3rd year, and he is currently training with the senior Pumas. So I say to the players, in a year's time, it's really difficult to make it. It's really difficult to put yourself out there. After a year, your body starts changing, you start adapting to training full time. But in the 2nd year is when you actually start seeing more results on the field, when you play as well and you mature a lot. And then in the 3rd year is hopefully where you're going to get a chance. We've got a big retention of 2nd years with us. And this year with the final squad of the Pumas under 21, I think we're standing at 21 players that is in the squad of 40. Where last year it was about 15. So it just keeps on increasing, but it's with the 2nd years returning. So it's a big point for us to show the players. Most of our 2nd years are in that group. There's not a lot of 1st years that's in the Pumas under 21 group. And now there's one guy that is 21 and is actually with the seniors.
It's great. So there is massive benefit for players to stay in this journey long term. Gert, I want you very briefly to do sort of our final message to players and parents about the value of staying within the UXi program, you know, for at least 2 years.
Yeah, thanks, Andri. I think when I speak to parents, I really don't sell a rugby program. We try to create a future, and I've seen it. I've been involved at university level as well before I joined UXi. And then you get a young player, and he gets a contract for 3,000 to 5,000 rand at the Bulls, and then he wants to stop his studies. But rugby is sometimes a cruel game. You get an injury, or you're on your best, you're never selected. So that is what makes it so fantastic to have a educational as well, UXi as an educational partner with you, to create a safety net. So you're creating a future for yourself, and she'll chase your dream to be a professional rugby player. And as Maurice already said, there's a very little, a few percentage of players that really makes it to a higher level or to provincial or even Springbok level. So a fantastic way to get a qualification, to start a career after getting into chasing your dream and a rugby dream. So a fantastic place to stay. And I think that is something unique that UXi offers. So yeah, very happy with that offer as well.
So Gert, thanks very much. Anton, and to all the program managers, thanks a lot for joining us. And thanks for tuning in to the UXi podcast. I think the main message here is things are going really smoothly, things are going well, players are playing competition, they're developing, and it's that time of the year where you need to start planning ahead towards next year. So make sure that you encourage your sons, encourage your daughters if they're in the UXi Academy or in the Institute. Stay committed, stay going, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us. Until next time, thanks very much.